Okay, how's it going, everyone? We're doing a slightly less formal discussion today. Just myself, Natalie Roth, who is the Director of Business Solutions, and Corey Mustard, the Sales Director, both of them, all of us, at Centrical. Specifically, today, we've just all got back, well, not today, we got back last week from CCW, had the entire weekend to both recover and digest. And today, just wanted to have a discussion with the two of them about how it went, what their impressions were, and any key takeaways that they had that we can share with you guys. So first question for you, Natalie, just to get everything started broadly as you could possibly think of it. You know, what were your impressions of CCW this year? What did you think about how it went? Go with it however you'd like.
Sure. I think it was just super exciting event overall. The energy was great. I think there's so much changing in the industry. I think everyone came to really learn and learn from each other, right? Like see what others are doing. AI was obviously everywhere, but that means so much. So it was interesting to to hear, especially in some of the sessions and the keynotes, kind of how people are thinking about leveraging AI. You know, a lot of companies are more mature in their implementation of AI in their contact centers and other areas. So I think there was a lot of learning to have, and I think there was like a very broad spectrum of companies at different stages of their AI transformation. So I think it was a great opportunity for those that are just beginning to think about how they can start thinking about transforming, their customer experience with AI.
Nice. Fantastic. Okay. And Corey, you're our what would you say, resident you've been many times. So getting an idea from you regarding impressions, maybe I'll specify and say, like, how was this year different? And how did it compare to previous one?
Well, one, it was nice to see it packed again, right? So I think last year was pretty good too, but it's the biggest show of the year, so it's always fun to see how many people actually are there and the wide variety of people that show up. I did think it was a little, as a vendor, right? The expo hall situation, having two expo halls was a little bit different. I just there was just so much to see, right? So it was kind of cool in that way. The AI stuff was actually it was super interesting because every year for, I don't know, probably the last 6-7 years, it's like every year there's more AI like in the titles of people's companies and on their booths and things like that. I felt like this year was probably an exaggeration, a little bit of hyperbole, but it seemed to me like it was like 90% AI companies, which begged the question, how much of this is just branding? How much of this is vaporware? How much of this is real? What are people really doing with AI? What are they really looking for? Are people actually looking for AI? Are they there for other reasons? And I think that it was pretty exciting to really see that there was a lot of advancements, right? A lot of the AI stuff isn't vaporware. There is some really cool stuff that's out there now, where I think like 3 or 4 years ago, it was vaporware, right? It was a lot of great intentions, and now there's actually real stuff that's out there that's making an impact in people's day-to-day customer experiences, and obviously with companies like us and the employee experience.
Yeah. This is very interesting. I think when I was also there, by the way, everyone who's watching, just in case you're wondering, my impressions, fantastic, lovely place. Las Vegas is amazing. Many signs for AI, as the two of these described, except we were the only AI company there. That's a joke. I'll cite the video that I made about that, and there'll be more to follow up with that. But to follow up on what the two of you have kind of gestured at, and I'd love to get Natalie's impression on this, but to set it up, I had an opportunity, actually a number of us had an opportunity to chat with Shep Hyken while there, and he had a great quote that I literally wrote down because I'm a nerd. Where when he was describing AI, he described it as a race. Everybody's racing against one another when it comes to AI, but no one knows where the finish line is. And I was like, oh, that's a good line. And it felt accurate too. And so, Natalie, in relation to that, you described how some companies are more mature in relation to their AI implementation. Can you give a description or an example of a company that you think is doing it right? And then as a broader question on top of that, or integrated into it, do you think there's a better impression as to where that finish line is now? Like we're actually getting an idea of exactly how AI is going to fit into the contact center, into customer experience, or is there still a lot of play? There's still a lot of room and a lot of uncertainty. So run with that.
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the last sessions that I attended, one of the last breakout sessions, was Delta Airlines, Amin Lalani, and they're definitely on the mature side. And so he was talking about all the ways that they're using AI for automation, in the kind of traveler experience, but also personalization. So they do a lot of great things for their, most loyal customers to personalize the experience. And anyone that traveled to CCW, right? Every airline's doing so much with automation to make that experience better. So I think he shared a lot of great examples and use cases of automation and personalization. And I think in general, his advice was really to think about the kind of practical use cases, right? Like it doesn't need to be, think about areas in the business that can benefit from automation and then invest there, or think about areas of the business, where you can personalize the experience and really stand out for your customers, and find ways to use AI to accomplish those goals. I also attended the keynote on that last day. Dr. Radhika Dirks, she shared kind of, there's the three waves of AI. And what really stood out to me is wave 3, the race to intimacy. And she kind of stressed that, we need to figure out and understand our values. Because eventually, as we're racing, right, we're racing kind of with this end that we don't know. It's all gonna, at the end, I think we're really gonna come back to making sure that we don't kind of lose this connection to humanity and to each other, with all the automation and all of the kind of transformation that's happening. So I just think it's really important, as a company that everyone kind of thinks through what are their core values and how can AI be used to, we don't want to lose sight of those values as we implement AI and other tools. So I think it's really important to kind of stick to that as well.
Yeah. I think of the sessions that I was able to attend, one of the things I noticed was what would you say, a strict description of AI as a tool, right? And what I mean by that is like the mentality one has to have towards it is, we have this goal, we have these values. Now, how do we use this tool to accomplish those things? Not, hey, there's a fun new shiny thing and it can decrease our first caller resolution quickly, or increase our first caller resolution. So I feel like that's kind of what you were describing there. So Corey, jumping back to some of the things that I picked out from your description, I got to do it because I'm sure CCW would be very interested, especially from a veteran like you. The expo halls. Describe a little bit how you were dissatisfied with the circumstances, or actually areas to improve. And I don't know if this is a good question, but we're gonna find out. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure dissatisfaction is the key there, right? No, it was just massive. I mean, there was just so many booths that to visit, And I'm not sure if people actually made it through both expo halls because there was just so much to see. And that's just the nature of the show, right? So,
Hmm.
I know in the past with some demo drives and things like that, I feel like there was, because even though I feel like there was more overall attendees than I think I've seen in a while at CCW, it did seem like the expo hall traffic in general, not just talking to other vendors and stuff too, it wasn't as consistent, in its like flow of people, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not dissatisfied at all. Um,
No, no, no,
so I
no.
don't know if that's a good question.
I definitely I definitely framed it improperly. That's for sure. Yeah. We all have ways in which we can improve. Mine is framing and using the proper words to describe things. So listen, it's great. We're doing good.
I will say
Um,
this, with all the let me do a little talk here a bit about something. So with all of the talk about AI, I did find it was interesting that that people are still people and companies' needs are still the same needs that they've had for a long time. There was a lot of great conversation that we had, not only around the AI stuff, but also about the simple stuff, right? Or actually not simple stuff, like people side of things, right? The I think there's still that need in every contact center to make sure that they're following the best practices to be able to retain the best talent that they can, especially when it comes to like coaching and the team leads and supervisors. I think there's a lot of folks that are realizing that with all the investments that they've done in the customer experience and AI, and really, I think trying to create better onboarding and training experiences, that there is still a gap when it comes to having the most skilled managers, but also how to be able to support those managers better and be able to have them be more impactful with their teams. And there was a lot of great conversation around that. And one thing I really loved is that it's not just, you know, the mature or not mature companies. I was having the same conversations that, with groups that had 15 to 20 agents that I was having with groups that had, 2,000 agents, right? And so there is this very real need of in today's environment, especially I think given all the automation and all the different choices that are out there for employees to kind of jump around this remote world and stuff. How do we really create the best long lasting teams within our environment that are all using all of these different pieces of technology to really
yep.
enhance their experience and enhance their performance?
I
Yep.
think you're spot on. I think one of the most packed sessions that I attended was on coaching and employee development, and yeah, it was a mix of people in that room, and everyone. It's just such an important topic. Everyone is looking for ways to strengthen the manager and employee kind of relationship and experience. And I think there was a lot of talk just around how can we make the culture better in our contact centers, and it's not just about. I think with all of the change in technology, I think culture is so important and being intentional about culture. And so we heard some really great things about how companies are doing that as well.
Fantastic. I think, and that was my impression too. That it was kind of exciting in that way that every banner had AI on it, and every vendor had, every discussion had some twinge of AI associated with it. But what I thought was a very interesting kind of, what would you say, opposite corollary of this was that the AI seemed to motivate these companies to be really invested in how their people were behaving in relation to it and how they were being motivated and how they were learning and how I think coaches and middle managers was a serious focus from the people I was speaking with, which is exciting. Like I think the worry with AI, understandably, is that it just decimates the call center, just decimates like CX. There's just no people left. It's exclusively chatbots. But in actual fact, an impression I got was actually it's enabling people the opportunity to invest in their people, which is exciting. For that,
So,
yeah, you go
so
on.
yeah,
Sorry.
Paul, on that same note, like there was definitely people like I had people ask me, like, Corey, what do you think the future here with all this AI is going to happen? Is it going to really completely displace agents? And there was some, I think there was both concern around that and even probably a little bit excitement about that, right? I think where most people are kind of ending up in this is that yes, AI is going to remove even more of the low-hanging fruit, the easier transactions. I mean, that's already the case, but I think that's going to be even more so. That sure, maybe level one, if you had three levels of agents, level one agents may not be around anymore. But I think that what's happening though is that those are going to become level two agents, and the level two agents are going to be the level three agents because there's going to be just more and more complexity, and that's where that concern comes up. Is okay, how do we get our people? We were implementing these AI, we're doing all this stuff to really enhance the customer experience, but how do we level up kind of everyone else in the organization from our frontline agents to our frontline managers and coaches and leaders? How do we kind of level everybody up to be able to handle the complexity that's going to be coming their way with each and every contact going forward?
I totally agree on that, Corey. And I think I remember someone spoke about kind of as we think about our talent strategies, like identifying those agents that have that intellectual curiosity that want to kind of take on more, and providing those opportunities and investing in their reskilling and all of that, so that they can find those opportunities.
Intellectual curiosity. That's a great phrase. Yeah. That's hope I have that. I think I might. I don't know. I have to Google it first. That's because I'm curious. No, this is good. This is good. I feel like we're getting to the kernel of the event. Like I think, and that's what's interesting is that CCW doesn't set specific themes, to their events as far as externally, as far as we know. But I feel like the vendors and the participants kind of create those themes as a result of the things that they're interested in that particular year. And I think we're starting to get to them. I think AI is it's brilliant. It's a fantastic tool. But it's not like in of itself an end, right? It's a means to an end. And what is the end that people are concerned with? It's, in the face of AI taking on a lot of the automation of those level one disputes, how do we upskill everybody else? How do we identify the agents who are going to be most successful at those higher levels? How do we enable coaches to train for the best experience that you could possibly have? One of the things I heard that I really appreciated was someone saying, I wish I could remember his name. It doesn't matter. He was like, if you chat with 3 AI agents and you finally get to a real person, that real person better be very good, like very, very good. Cause it's, you've now gone through all the automations. It's like, it must be white glove service or else like, it's not going to end well. So yeah, that definitely felt a lot like, that was a bit major theme for this year. Natalie, regarding the events themselves, you were able to go to so many different talks and learn so much, which is really exciting. By the way, if anyone's watching, we're going to try and summarize that and put it into a pretty document and send it out. So pay attention for that. Did you have a particular speaker, a particular event that you were just like, oh, this is so good? And if we've touched on one, if there was some unique event, some unique talk that you were like, oh, no one's going to pay attention to this unless I evangelize. Do you have anything like that?
I mean, I thought the keynotes were all amazing. I mentioned a couple. I love the Boom Chicka Pop story. I think it's such a great story of entrepreneurship. And I think Angie's company, like always, they did really put their employees at the center, something that's close to us. And I think it really
Boom Chicken Pop.
Boom Chicka Pop, the popcorn brand. So they started from like their garage,
Fantastic.
basically, right? Her and her husband were a nurse and a teacher, and they left what they were doing, which they found so much purpose in, right? Teaching and being a nurse, to start a popcorn business, and felt like they were just doing it, to set up their kids for a better future. But they became so successful, and they invested in their employees so much. Their employees all, when they sold the company, their employees all had, payouts and things. And so they actually, I think they found more purpose in what they did, because they helped all of these people that really helped make their business become something huge. So that was great. But yeah, the keynotes, I also really love John Taffer's talk. I think his personality is amazing. But he talked about, like, we're in the business of creating reactions. And at the end of the day, that's all it is. And so whether you're talking to a bot or you're talking to a human, it's our job, right, as customer experience organizations, to create reactions, and positive reactions, ideally. And so I think just kind of remembering that, like, it's all about the connection and the reactions that we're creating, at every kind of touch point with our customers. And so that really spoke to me. The other thing that kept coming up that I thought was really interesting, I would love your perspectives on, is this notion of your digital twin or your AI, so I think we don't really see it happening yet, but what is it going to be when our AI is just that we have our own kind of AI persona that does calls for us. If we want to make a return, I don't need to call anymore. Like, my AI persona can go handle that for me, and I can send it on its way, and it will go interact with some other AI, on the company side. I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like one day. Maybe it'll give me time back in my life too.
Maybe a lot of our interactions will just be AI chatting with AI. That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You guys are currently talking to my version of AI. This is not me.
I knew something was off about you, Corey. It's like, what?
I actually
really
thought
Corey
you were more engaged than normal. This is good. This is good.
Yeah, right?
It's a better version of me. Yeah.
If I could manipulate what I look like on camera, this is not what you'd be saying. There'd be a lot more hair. That'd be great. That'd be great. It's funny. Yeah, no, it's I mean, Corey, you referenced it. Like, it's not, there's a lot of pie in the sky thinking, which is great. I guess maybe a more positive view would be like very like utopian thinking, regarding what AI could potentially do. I definitely think there's enough data in the world on me, that you could probably create a pretty accurate AI representation of what's going on with me. Is that gonna happen? I don't know. I mean, maybe that'd be really. We'll see next CCW. But I think broadly it was valuable to hear where people think this could go, but also where it stands currently, and how people can implement what we have right now, appropriately into their current operations. So.
And then we're going to need ethics around this, right? Like, if that's where we're headed, like, there needs to be, we can't just, we need to make sure that we're doing things in a way that makes sense and is ethical, and that people feel good about,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Did people speak to that particular topic?
Dr. Dirks did. She spoke to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Natalie, I have the most serious question of all the questions that we have so far. What was your favorite piece of conference swag?
Oh, that's a good one.
Probably not the baseball bats my children were fighting with this morning.
Wow.
But no, I'm just kidding. My favorite swag. I mean, there were socks everywhere. I love a good pair of socks. So
I did get some nice socks. Thank you, Balance Staffing.
Yes. I have lots of new socks. Yes.
You had, Corey, you had was it you? I think it was you who had like a handmade twine like animal or something. It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was super cool little elephant made of like wires and beads, handmade by somebody in South Africa that I got from a BPO.
Oh,
Gosh, I
wow.
wish I remember the name of that BPO right now so I can plug them. But
Okay, well, yeah, they'll be
That
big
see that I
hitters.
like.
It's
That's really
fine.
good. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Anything, but I feel like I gave you the answer though, Corey. Let's like independent of my suggestion. What was your favorite piece of swag?
that was my favorite piece of swag.
Okay.
That
Okay.
and my I really like the water bottle I got from Unifor. Like it's this great little thermoflask type water bottle. I've been using it all weekend. It's fantastic. So
Those are great. I'm gonna have the very basic bare bones answer of I really liked it when people gave out tote bags so that you could pick up more swag. So I was like, that's very. I really
Very
like that
functional.
idea. Yeah. And the Starbucks gift cards that went straight to my sister, whose birthday was over the weekend. Oh, she was very thankful. That was great. I like that a lot.
I
Yeah,
also appreciate all the food.
Okay.
It's nice to like when
Food
you're
is
all
good.
when you're so busy and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's yeah.
yeah,
The nice
the
coffee
caramel
as
popcorn
well.
from Cresta was fantastic, and the Trader Joe's chocolate bar from Poly AI was spot on.
Look at you. Have you done a full audit of everything? This is fantastic. I love this. That's great. There's like every piece of swag from every company. Brilliant. Well, I mean, I think that's a lot, guys. That was fantastic. I think we did a good summary of everything. Before I close out, are there any concluding thoughts? There don't have to be. It'd be specifically anything that like you'd like to mention that we haven't touched on.
Yeah, I will say
Anything like that.
this. If I will say there was one cool thing that CCW does that I haven't seen at any other conferences that I thought was probably the coolest thing that I've seen at any conference, and I think they did it better this year than they have in the past, is in the award ceremony
Mm,
actually bringing up the best agents
yeah.
onto the stage and celebrating how great they did, the best managers from different companies, being able to celebrate them individually in front of the entire room full of these amazing companies, literally saying, hey, this is the best agent pretty much in the entire world right here. And this is how they did. This is what their customer satisfaction was. This is where their results are. I mean, it's a hard job, and to be able to publicly recognize those front end workers in such a huge way, really
Mhm.
is kind of mind blowing. I think that's really the spirit, I think, of where we are as a company. So I really appreciated that. And it's really cool to see that that's such a value that CCW really does place on the frontline agents and supervisors, that they're celebrating them in an awards gala with some of the biggest companies on earth. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it also in my head it really reframed the event. I think as vendors we see this event in a very specific way, um, as what would you say, as work, as an opportunity, as something we have to work towards. Whereas for these agents especially, and by the way, I can't agree with you more, Corey. It was fantastic to see like this massive stage and then these agents being recognized for the amazing work that they were doing, being brought on, and like they looked so proud and happy with themselves. It was just great. It was lovely. But like I said, it reframed the whole event as like, oh wow, this is all reward for their great work, not just getting these awards, but also like being able to go in and learn a lot more about the newest technology and learn a lot more about how other companies are implementing it and bringing those ideas back to the company and implementing some of them and starting new initiatives and things like that. It's a magical time. It's a fun event. It's great. So I mean, thank you for closing us out on such a lovely note. Natalie, Corey, you guys are the bomb. I wouldn't have rather been at this event with anyone else. This has been Centrical's CCW recap discussion. Thank you both, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.